Hi, my name's Marilyn Ward. This is where I used to live many years ago, from 1953 to 1977. As I knew, this place was called Aldam Place, and it's since now called Wilmer Place. When I lived here as a kid, it was a cul-de-sac, the cobbles leading up there. Never used to get many people walking up here because it was a cul-de-sac and no one really knew what was up here, but there used to be 10 little cottages and the place behind this big house, which used to be an old woman's asylum and used to be the home of John Wilmer. Apparently John Wilmer was buried in one of the back gardens, which I used to see as a kid. Yeah, I mean, we had some great times here when I was a kid. We lived over there, which was number 1. This would have been our yard. No, actually, yeah, this would have been part of the garage, I think, that belonged to this factory here. We backed onto the hairdressers that used to be in Church Street. So yeah, our little house was there. We only had a small yard with an outside toilet, no hot water, no electricity upstairs, because when my grandmother lived there before, she could only afford to have the electric put on downstairs. She used to have the old gas lights coming out the wall for years. But yeah, so that was that. So that was my family, Mr. and Mrs. Ward and her 2 children, me and Julie. Passed now. And number 2, Debbie and June Frost with their daughter, Sandra and Debbie. So these were the only 2 houses that actually faced that way and was laid back. Them 2 there, where all that air conditioning stuff is. So number 3 faced the alleyway, which they had a longer garden. Their house would have stuck out probably there, which covered the whole of that alleyway. So if you're looking up the alleyway, all you could see was like their front door and their front window. Then it went round the corner to the remaining cottages where the other residents lived. And so behind this building here, obviously there was an extension many years ago with a fire escape, and then there was a wall, so it laid back a little bit there. So that was our front garden. Well, we used it as our front garden, and then it went up. Now, behind this big house in the back garden, there was 2 cottages behind the 2 walls. So when you're looking at number 3, the wall, the cottages, would have probably been a bit parallel to these 2 bits of paving there, okay? So you can get an idea how big the houses were and how big the gardens were. But as I say, we only had a yard, number 1, number 2. Number 3 went back a little bit further, so they could talk over the wall to their neighbours, whereas we couldn't. We were secluded. And obviously, our house backed on the 3 Crowns. Now I can tell you, just by looking here, that his tombstone was over there. No, we didn't know what it was, but we knew it was a tombstone, because it used to scare the living daylights out of us, because we were just young. So if our ball went over there, we'd have to climb over the gate to get it, and that was a little bit scary, because obviously the back of the house, everything was all overgrown, weeds and what have you, and it was just scary for us kids anyway. Right, okay. Let me work that out.
Approximate.
Yep, okay. So, back of there, that was that. Gardens there. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It would have been probably somewhere either in this vicinity here, given about 10 feet or so. Yeah, maybe under that wall somewhere. I would say the tomb was like one of them ones that you see in St Mary's graveyard, you know, the one in the Church Street, you know, that is up, raised up. Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I couldn't climb up on it. It was just there, standing there all on its own, but it was all overgrown and, yeah, I mean, it was like us kids doing something we shouldn't be doing. Can't remember what year it was, but yeah, I mean, that was really, really shocking, absolutely shocking. I just remember looking out my bedroom window, and obviously I lived at number 1 and my bedroom window faced that way, and I could see the flames literally coming over. And the next thing I know, we had firemen knocking on our door, you know, quick, get out, get out. Very sad. And it brings back my memories of my mum, my dad, all the neighbours, us kids playing out, you know. And it was great. You know, it was safe. It was safe to play up here as a kid.